just wanted to share uh, the story of selling my last gold and silver that I did a month back or so. I'll do a live show so I can answer some questions also, but I will keep it short. Um, yeah, it was a very small exposure in my portfolio. Um, I don't know how much exactly. Very small, huh? Um, 2% or 5%, something like that. And For me, it was a non-issue. Actually, it was not a big decision. It was a decision that I had made years ago, actually, that in the next bear market of crypto, I will be liquidating these assets, all assets, and go fully into crypto. Um, and In the last bull market of crypto, I did lock in profits and diversify them away into investments such as gold, physical gold, and silver. And Actually, I didn't buy any physical silver anymore, but I did buy some physical gold back that I had sold before for crypto. And I even ended up buying stocks. And I considered strongly to buy real estate in the last crypto bubble. So I was diversifying into other assets, and I was still believing that to be a wise choice. But today, I don't think that's the case anymore. Yes, it's true. There is a very small chance that we get a huge financial crisis where the electricity shuts down and your gold and silver will become much more valuable um, and useful. That's true, but the chance is so small that it's negligible. Huh? The same for storing piles of food in your basement. Uh, uh, yes, there is a small chance you will need that in case of a serious whatever crisis, uh, but the chance is so small that it's not worth the effort. Huh? Storing lots of food in your basement requires a lot of energy. It requires capital, and it requires keeping up to date renewal. Huh? This is actually costly in amount of money, amount of space, and amount of energy that you put into that thought energy. Huh? So um, uh, and the chance is so low it's going to happen that, well, it's just not worth it. um, and the same today is true for storing gold or silver. um, so I don't think it's worth it to have 1% of your assets, or 2% or 3% in gold. Uh, no, huh? Uh, because it's much better to focus on becoming richer. If you become richer, then you will also be very well protected during crisis. Huh? Sure, your assets can go down a lot in value, but when you're rich and you cut it by 10 or by 100, you still have money to survive a crisis and to not die from hunger. I mean, especially during crisis, everything is for sale. So if you have some money, you'll be okay. Hi, welcome to the live chat. This is very short, just a story about selling my last gold and silver. Feel free to ask some questions, and I will end them at the end. I will answer them at the end. Um, so yeah, a crypto bear market is the best time to clean up your uh, investment portfolio, but also your house, also your relationships, because everything costs money and time. And during a bear market, you really want to invest all of that into coins. Huh? Your favorite coins, your favorite crypto coins. Huh? That's the wise move. Um, and so, yeah, less is more is true. um, I'm even considering to sell my Lambo, the only asset I have, and that does give me fun, does give me joy. But yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of if it's financially worth it to do it for me. Um, because that's not really an investment. It's just a toy for fun. Huh? And I have I have new girlfriends, and I love to take them on a ride. And whenever I come in Belgium, Europe, I love to drive it. So maybe I won't sell it. But that gold that had no value for me, other than a protection during crisis, and it doesn't give me any fun or joy. It's just laying there. Doing nothing useful. Huh? So, but for me, it's an end of an era. Selling my lost gold and silver, it's really feels good. It was actually the first thing I invested in. No, that was .com shares in 1999. Lernout and Hospi, some Belgian company, where I put all my savings in and lost them. Only a few months later, the thing went broke during the crash.com crash, and I lost all my savings. That was my first experience, a very good one. But then a couple of years later, in 2000, 2, 3, I had inherited capital before that, but the bank was managing it, and they lost a lot of that inheritance. In 2, 3 years, I had lost already 30% of the inheritance. So I realized, like, oh my God, I really have to learn to invest, because otherwise that inheritance will be gone very quickly, and I don't want that. So then I started reading books, and I discovered Mark Faber, his book Tomorrow's Gold, that he had written in 2003, and I was reading in 2004 or 5. And that was my first great book. I read the other ones, some too, about security analysis from Benjamin Graham, and many others I read. But the one from Mark Faber really stick with me, because he learned me about cycles, long-term cycles. And his view was that now it was time for gold to go up over the next decade. You only need to make one decision every decade in what to invest. And because every decade you only have to make one choice. So it's either stocks, bonds, or gold, or real estate. Pick one, but there will be only one that's really gonna perform the best, and one of them will perform very badly. So you better pick the right one. It will make a huge difference. Huh? And the right one to choose today is gold, he said. Huh? And yeah. I believed him, and it made a lot of sense looking at the historical cycles, and so I started investing in gold, but even also in silver. I was became a silver bug. And so I was piling up, stashing up silver in 2004 and 5. No, I started in 2006 to stash silver and 7, and then it went up, and gold too. But then you had the crisis of 2008, and my silver that I had bought, let's say, for $15 went up to $20, so I was very happy. But then during the financial crisis of 2008, it dropped from 20 to $10, and so I was sitting on a loss. I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, I had predicted a financial crisis, that banks would collapse. Everybody called me crazy in my family and friend circle, and it actually happens, and I end up making a loss. Like, oh my God, I really hated that, and I made so many bad moves there. But in 2009, then after the financial crisis, gold and silver went up a lot. So on average, I did make about let's say 6% return over that period, and after expenses, and that's of course much better than what the bank was doing. So it was okay, but I wasn't like able to make a living from it. Um, but I did start to share my investment wisdom with a blog in 2009, and that's how I started my investment career, my public investment career, and then later start a YouTube channel also. And you can still see on my YouTube channel my oldest videos where I'm doing interviews about investing, and I was then into gold and silver. So that was my start of my public investment career, and but yeah, today, hi all, welcome to the live show. I'm just making a short video about selling my lost gold and silver, and I will answer your questions at the end. So feel free to ask. Um, but yeah, um, check my videos I made not so long ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, about the stock market. I show very clearly that it is extremely unlikely that we are in a gold cycle right now. That ended, it started in 1999, 2000, and it ended in 2011. A decade of bull market for gold and commodities happens every 30 years. The last one was in the 70s for 10 years. Then you had in the new millennia, new century, also 10 years. And the one before that actually took a lot longer. That was in the 30s. So sometimes the gap is like 20 years, but sometimes the gap is like 30 years of no bull market for gold, silver. And so, but we only started the bear market in 2011 for gold and silver. And so, it's minimum 20 years bear market. So at the earliest, gold and commodities will go back up in not in the 2020, but in 2030 at the earliest. But it could also be 2040. So there is absolutely nothing to see in gold and commodities. It's a bad investment. The only case you can make for it is that, yes, you can always get some kind of serious crisis. I don't know, a meteorite hits the planet and half the population is wiped out. Yes, your gold and silver will become valuable. Paper money will not work anymore. Banking system will not work anymore. Yes, that will be then a savior. But if you are busy focusing on making money and having a relationship, building relationships, like you will build wealth over time. And if that happens, a meteorite strikes and you don't have gold, you will still be okay, because there is always things you will be able to sell, or assets that don't lose all their value. So life goes on even during a crisis. And everything is for sale. You can buy anything, food, water, as long as you have the money. So it doesn't make sense to store that. It does make a lot of sense to clean up your investment portfolio during a crypto bear market like today, because less is more, and focus is golden. It takes so much time to invest in something properly. In crypto, it's not just about making one decision and buying the coins and storing it for good. No, it requires continued focus, an investment to make it work. Especially for crypto, which is a high-tech investment, requiring a lot of energy to store it properly, safely, and to continue to follow up on market realities. The market changes rapidly in the high-tech sector. And there's a huge difference between picking a winner and a loser. That may not be clear yet today, but it will certainly become clear in the future for crypto. That some do go to zero and others win over the world. So all these things require so much focus and energy that, yes, you do want to clean up investments that you don't believe in anymore or that have had terrible returns compared to your other investments, and are just not worth it. The same with relationships, the same with items in your house or other assets that you hold. It's liquidation time, especially since I personally am expecting that the bear market is not over yet for crypto, so we will see at least a double bottom and possibly a new low. But you can only buy that when it's when you have already liquidated the other assets and it's ready fiat on the exchange to be converted into crypto. This requires time. Just selling old stuff in the house takes a lot of time. Ending relationships takes a lot of time. Selling assets, some assets are so illiquid, like real estate, for example. You want to have a decent price or a Lamborghini. You're gonna have to put it on the market for a while and wait for the right buyer to come by. And that buyer will give you the right price, but you want to sell right now or within a month or 2 months or 3 months, you have to go below market price considerably, 10% or more, to get it liquidated quickly. So you take a huge loss if you don't prepare. So voila, that was my story on gold and silver. It was a great time for me. It really made my career. It started my investment career. It made my first money, and it learned me very important lessons on not how to invest. And I'm very grateful for all the people that I've met in that community. And Mark Faber today, very interesting, bought his first Bitcoin. And so the person that actually brought me into gold is also now today has started with crypto finally. So that's great to see. I will go now over the questions and the comments. Thank you all for joining. Did you sell your BCH to buy on the next dip? Yes, actually, I forgot to make a video about this, but I did post it on Twitter. Um, and so follow my Twitter if you want to stay up to date about my market moves. But I went into I raised my crypto exposure from 20% to 75% when Bitcoin Cash crashed. Finally broke the 400 US dollars in November of 2018 because that was a strong bottom, strong resistance, $400 for Bitcoin Cash. But I really believed it would go lower the whole crypto market, and then it finally broke in November when Bitcoin also broke the 6,000 US dollars. And around 4,500 US dollars, I thought the bottom was there, which was proven wrong already the day after. But I thought the same for Bitcoin Cash, and it had reached like $200. And I had my average, I started buying very strongly there for a couple of days, and my average buying was about 250 US dollars. And so I converted basically half of my portfolio, 50% of my portfolio into Bitcoin Cash. So I went from like 20% crypto to 75% crypto, of which almost all is Bitcoin Cash. And a little bit of Allbyte, but I didn't buy any Allbyte. But thanks to my viewers, I realized that I had made a mistake. And of course, the bear market continued, the Bitcoin Cash continued to drop from $250 to $80. And so all that fiat that I put in Bitcoin Cash was sitting already weeks later. I had lost more than half already, 66% or so. So it was painful during the end of last year. But actually, after I had done that move, a critical observer of my work said, "But Mark, why do you go to such a majority exposure of crypto if you think?" Because I thought the bottom was there, but days later, yes, no, that was wrong, and I realized like the information of Kevin Svensson was correct, that actually the volume was not high enough, and even when you went like I realized I was wrong, and so I said like actually no, it's not likely we see the bottom here, and so a big minority exposure is justified. I was saying that already then, but I had not done this myself. I had gone to a big majority crypto exposure, but then the market continued to drop on huge losses. It was not the time to correct my mistake. So when the market just jumped up a week ago, and Bitcoin Cash was around, let's say, $150 or so, and jumped up to $300 in only a couple of days. When Bitcoin broke the $4,000 and went to $5,000 past week, I was so happy because I'm still convinced the bear market is not over. And for me, it was a time to correct that mistake. And so my crypto exposure jumped back up due to that move to about 80% or so crypto. And so I cut it in half. I sold half my Bitcoin Cash or so, and I went to back 40% crypto exposure. And so that's what I am also today. So instead of 80%, I'm at 40% because I think that's just the right allocation during this bear market. That yes, you should have a very decent exposure, but not a majority exposure yet. So I was able to correct that mistake thanks to the recent pump, and I'm so happy with that. And so yes, I did sell Bitcoin Cash. And so now I'm just hoping that my predictions come through, and the bear market's not finished, and I'll be able to buy Bitcoin Cash around 100 US dollars. Yeah, because I think a double bottom for Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum is very likely. But a new low, I'm not so sure about. I'm not so confident about. I am quite confident for it for Bitcoin BTC, that it will see a new low, but not for top coins like Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash, because because yeah, they saw drops of 95% for Ethereum, 97% for Bitcoin Cash. These are huge corrections. Bitcoin has not seen anything like that, huh? And they are a top performance when you look at adoption, which is the most important thing. Ethereum is doing extremely well, huh? In the amount of people that use Ethereum. To do whatever. If you look at the amount of transactions on Ethereum network is tremendous. Um, and the amount of people that build stuff on top of Ethereum, the fundamentals are very, very good there. And so, and I think the same for Bitcoin Cash, even though it has corrected a lot. And certainly the investment demand is not there yet. But when you look at the fundamentals, amount of transactions is okay. It's not outstanding, but it's okay. But merchant adoption, yeah, there are some parameters. I'm gonna make another video on that where you see that that Bitcoin Cash is doing very well on the fundamentals. So and of course, so I do think it's possible that we see a new low for Bitcoin, but not a new low for some top coins, as it has happened also in previous bear market. Ripple found its bottom half a year before Bitcoin, but it was one of the only ones. So it is a long shot, but let's say that I'm able to buy Bitcoin Cash at 100 US dollars or 90 US dollars, and then it drops to 40. Well, I'll be fine. I mean, I'll be very happy with that, and I'll just hodl the thing for very, very long. So it's more important for me to be able to buy them back for sure at maybe double the price of the bottom than to miss out buying during these great times. So that's my plan. Hi all, welcome to the live chat. Answering some questions here before we end it, because I want to keep this short. Please rewatch the video because in the beginning I do the actual story about selling my lost silver and gold, and that's the point of the video. Can you recommend a good book for crypto investments? No, I cannot. I don't read books anymore. I think these days the most valuable information you will find on YouTube channels and Twitter personalities. So take a look at my list of recommended YouTube channels. If you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, you can find that, and also see what kind of people I follow on Twitter. That's what I recommend. So let's see at the other questions. I consider buying some silver for my girlfriend's birthday instead of wasting it on useless stuff. Well, silver is actually useless. You mean a silver chain your girl will like, but it's a silver golden, a silver billion bar your girlfriend will frown and think that you're not really in touch with the needs of a girl. So silver has no value aan zich. What I would recommend to buy for the girlfriend, I don't know, it's a personal question. In giving presents, if you do that well, then you give them something that you know they really like, and you can only do that if you know the person. Giving a present is more about proving that you know the person. That will make them happy. Hey Mark, do you see Bitcoin double bottoming in the next 6 months, or will we go lower? Yes, I just answered that. Indeed, I think odds are high for that, for more than a double bottom, but a new low. Especially today, the market has rallied a lot, so all noses are pointed upwards, but that's exactly when it goes downwards. Huh? Bitcoin Standard is the book. The problem with many books about Bitcoin, of course you can learn a lot about it, but Bitcoin maximalism is a real disease in the crypto community, and especially people that write books about Bitcoin suffer from that. And so you have to be careful who you learn from, because sometimes they lay the wrong foundations for you to go forward. Do you believe most of the current cryptos in, let's say, the top 15 have made enough inroads that they will have staying power for the next 5 to 10 years? No, I don't think so. Um, I think we're very comparable to the dot-com bubble in 1995, 96, and the top companies then all went broke. Netscape, um, Yahoo, America Online were the top companies in 1995. They all went up a lot during the dot-com bubble, so they were great investments from 1995 till 1999. But after that, they all went broke. So they had the wrong foundations, the bad fundamentals, bad management, making absolutely capital mistakes, and they end up losing the market totally. So be careful, because that's the same is going to happen in crypto land. And that's why I talk so much about Bitcoin being mismanaged, high transactions fees being unacceptable. And I talk a lot about Bitcoin Cash, where it's managed correctly and well. Like, these things are super important. Not during the bubble, not during next bubble. Everything will go up. Bitcoin will find the bottom, will go back up. It will do well price wise. But after the next bubble, we will have another bear market that will last a lot longer than current bear market, and will shake out. Maybe this will be the last big bubble that we go into, and that will end likely at 2024, 2025, and after that, the shakeout will be tremendous, and I believe many coins will end up dying. And so you start to invest today in the wrong coins. Well, the problem is that you're dedicated. You make the wrong choice today, you're gonna stick to it because your money is in it. So you can start to like not want to see the truth of things. And since prices go up, you think you're doing well, but actually the fundamentals continue to be bad. And so, but yeah, you're making money, and so you stick with it, and then at the top you don't sell enough, and so a lot of the coins you end up keeping in the next bear market, and then it goes to zero. And yeah, that's very painful, happens to many investors. So it's very important today, when you make your buying decisions about which coin to invest in, do your homework. Meaning, look at fundamentals, like it's all about adoption. Which coin is developing software that is usable for the end user, that's easy to use? It's very important. Which coin has the right economic foundations? Which founders have a vision? Which people have a track record? A track record is super important, but it's not everything, of course. I mean, logically, many of those that will build great things have no track record. They're young people, but then, yeah, it's all very important. I agree. I still see gold and silver in bear. My targets are just below 1K for gold and below 10 for silver. I'm adding uranium to my portfolio. It's in a long accumulation phase. I made videos on uranium. I think that uranium is no different from other commodities and will also continue to see a bear market. But of course, it has just gone down a lot. It's now in a rebound. That rebound can last a couple more years, but after that, I expect to see new lows for uranium. Let's see what else we have. I think Casio says he got buy orders for Bitcoin at 2.2K. I think that's a very good target. I personally think we will see right below 2K, 1,900, but that will be the absolute bottom. So great, and I hope you fill them. Ivan says that there is no bear market. The bull market in crypto is here. Please rewatch my last video. That's not the case. Also, I have a link in the description of my last video to a great analysis, 5 indicators why we're still in a bear market. Watch that video too. Etymology says crypto securities are the future. Enormous profits will be made over the next decade. I disagree. Crypto are not securities. Securities are stocks, and stock market is a thing of the past. Of course, stock market will continue to exist, but the next big thing is crypto, coins, currencies. That's the booming market here. And currencies are things that people use to pay each other. They are not stocks; those are shares to own a company. And so I don't believe that the next big thing will be securities and crypto. No, I believe the next big thing will be cryptocurrencies that are managed well and that can actually be used as currencies and stored by people in an easy way. Your girlfriend, your brother, sister, cousins, friends, that you are able to get them started in an easy way and get them interested in the coin for them to save it and spend it. That's the future. That's competing with the euro and the US dollar. It's not easy, but it's gonna happen, and those that win will become very, very valuable, huh? Because this gives tremendous freedom to people. Like you instead of putting your money on a bank account where it goes down in value, you put it on your phone and it goes up in value. Huh? That's a big difference. That's gonna mean a big difference for most people in their well-being. Huh? That's what we are offering here, but it needs to be done well. Huh? Who got you into gold and is now getting into crypto? The name is Mark Faber. Hi Mark, at what point would you go all in if there is no double bottom and it's clear the bull market started? For me, that would probably be when the all-time high is broken of Bitcoin at 20K or Bitcoin Cash at 4K. I would probably admit that I was really wrong and I just converted all into crypto. But probably I would do that before. I am following other people, technical analysts, and like, yeah, I might have changed my mind already at 10K or so, or at 1 or 2K for Bitcoin Cash, that I was wrong, and then I will just convert it into all into crypto. That certainly is possible, but we're not there yet. Gold, silver, crypto keeps you grounded in the physical and digital world. Not sure if one will win or both will win, but both won't lose. Well, yeah. Let's see at the other comments. Hi Mark. How do you think crypto will perform during a recession and stock correction? Inverted yield curve indicates a recession in 12 to 18 months. Well, yeah, I think there is almost no correlation between stock market and crypto market. That's way too soon for that. What's going on with Byteball? It got rebranded. Is it still any good? Yes, it's now called Obyte. Yes, a great project. I'm buying Black Bytes. The privacy coin of Obyte, highly undervalued. Gold and silver is about to skyrocket, and crypto is going to go up and then down as fair money covers the world. No one will need crypto after the bankers got locked up. Yeah, okay. Let's see at the other questions. Hi Mark, when do you expect the double bottom for BCH? I went into that. Which 2-3 coins you would consider as an investment replacement option? Well, I think when it comes to crypto, 2 to 3 coins, I think Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and I would maybe pick another big coin. But nothing really speaks to me. But there are some other Bitcoins that are good investments. I think it's important to invest only in Bitcoins right now, because the beginning of a bull market starts with the big coins going up and the small coins staying down and continue to go down versus the big coins. So the timing should be that you invest first in Bitcoins, and then 1-2 years later, when the bull market has clearly started and your big coins have gone up versus the small coins, then you can diversify into smaller coins. When there's a BCH hedge fund, I will start to take it seriously, says someone here. Why would you wait for a hedge fund to invest before you invest? That makes no sense. Mark, you were telling a lot about Byball, that it's easy, friendly, etc. What do you think about it now? The same. Download the Obyte wallet and try it out. I think it's very user friendly. I made videos on it. Um, yeah, I think it's important, but it's a small project, of course. It's much higher risk. It all depends on the founder for the most part, Tony. If he stops, well, that's the end of the project, very likely. So there is a much higher risk than, for example, Bitcoin Cash. Like even if Roger Ver or the programmer there that's leading, Amaury Chaussee would die, that project will continue and may become a big success still. Of course, it will be much harder, but there is such a big community around it and such a shared vision. That by so many people that there will become new people that will push it, and that's of course gives a lot of security to a project. What do you think about Neo? What about EOS? Uh, Thank you so much for your videos. Neo, I'm not familiar with, but EOS, I'm very skeptical. I really don't believe in the founder, Daniel Larimer. He started BitShares, so from the early days I've known him. He was actually even talking to Satoshi and not understanding Satoshi. Satoshi has the famous quote, "If you don't understand it, I have no time to explain to you." That was actually that what he was saying to Daniel Larimer when Larimer was critical of Bitcoin in the early days. So he was there from the start, and Larimer decided to start BitShares first. And so I was really considering investing it. It was a long competitor when I was invested in NXT. And at the same time, BitShares was competing, and then you had Ethereum also starting. And I chose NXT, the wrong one. But I could have chosen BitShares or some others, Mastercoin, and also Counterparty were competitors. All these did even worse, much worse than NXT. It was only Ethereum that was actually the right choice and made it big. So it's difficult investing. I'm experienced in picking the wrong projects. But yeah, you live, you learn. When it comes to EOS, Daniel started BitShares. After that, he left BitShares. He started Steam. Then he left Steam and he started EOS. You don't want to invest in a founder that leaves the project. He's not there for you to take you on a ride. He's there to take himself on a ride. And he will leave EOS very likely. Not surely, but likely. So that's not good. Also, the way it was done, EOS, they did the most, like, if you want to learn to make money, yes, look at Daniel. But he makes money from investors, not for investors. So what they did an ICO at the top of the market and raised a lot of Ethereum, hundreds of millions, and then billions, many billions, and then they convert immediately into fiat at the top, and so they have like 4 billion of fiat in US dollars accounts, and then he also set up a structure around it so that he basically can sell his shares. It's actually a share, it's a company, it's not a coin, it's a company. There's a company structure around it. There is also a coin, but for the most part it's a company, and that 4 billion in fiat is owned by a company of which he probably already sold many shares to other investors. So he is already cashing out probably, or has cashed out already a big part. So careful, people. I hope BTC crashes below 3,000. Invest in silver, it can go up 20x. People, gold is hard to say as it will be backing currency. No. Silver is a commodity. That's very important to realize. A commodity, what is a commodity? Commodity is something that is plentiful, available in the world. The amount of silver that comes above every year, the supply increases with 8%. With gold, the supply increases with 2% per year. Even at these gold prices, the amount of gold increases every year with 2%. But is the investment demand increasing with 2% on average? No, because less and less people value gold and invest in gold. Like in India, for example, you have still lots of belief in gold. Some communities where fiat has been very unreliable still value highly gold, but this goes down over time as politicians learn to manage their currency a little bit more responsibly. people start to use fiat more and more because it's also much more practical to make payments and all that. And so the culture of owning and storing gold yourself goes down. Huh? And so people value less and less gold. Huh? Your grandparents valued gold a lot more than your children. And so it goes down in it's being valued less over time. That shows also in the purchasing power of gold goes down over time. Today, you need many more kilograms of gold or ounces of gold to buy a piece of real estate than 100 years ago, huh? Or to buy, yeah. So that's the long-term trend. And the short-term trend is cycles. Yes, there are decades when it goes up a lot, but you really need to time that well, and it's very unlikely that it's gonna be now. It's much more. It's likely that we get another gold and commodity cycle when the supply demand curve changes. People are still mining a lot of gold today. You still go programs on TV where people are mining gold. Small teams are able to make a profit mining gold. That means prices are not low. In the end of a commodity cycle, only the biggest producers are able to stay alive because everybody is losing money. Except the most efficient producers. We're not there at all for gold. And only then the supply also goes down. The supply of mined commodities goes down, and only then demand can create a shortage, and only then prices start to go up, and then it takes another 10 years for price to go up enough for supply to pick up again. Do you still follow NXT? No. Can you contact me by email? Yes, but I prefer Telegram. It's at Mark de Mezel. Okay, that was it, guys. Thanks so much for joining the live show and asking some questions. Have a look again at the video about selling my lost silver and gold. And if you don't believe in what I said about the cycles, take a look at the videos I made 2-3 months ago, where you have the thumbnails of the columns, because I go in depth why I think the long-term cycles are showing clearly that it's not a good investment. Thanks so much for joining. I wish you all a great day.